use if the questions or set of questions should respond to only a respond who meet the previous question. You know, sometimes you go to the for example, in immigration or when you go to the airport, there is certain question that you need to answer. And if you answered yes, they tell you, please skip the next question. And if you answered no, please go to question number 9 or 10. So this is what a skip question all about. Yes, so what can I do for you? Now, so there is the surveys. There was two types you need to look at. It is the bad questioning and you know, in that could do it. You can find out about it when you do the testing, and you know, and it's not driving in it. And the skip the question. That's one of the things that you need to look at it also. Now, so the step 4 is determine the layout and evaluate the questionnaires. Please, these kind of questions, write to me. Don't interrupt the class, please. I will answer your emails in these questions. If it's a personal question about when you can write your test and how you write your test or your quiz, something got to do with your personal thing, please, you can, I put a lot of chance to utilize that. You can use the chatting later on, you can use the questionnaire emails, you can use the Padlet, you can use, there's so many tools that you can use to really communicate with me. Now, if you communicate with me now, what will happen is that I have to put 30 other students on hold just to answer your question. If it's this question not related to the course that I'm teaching, and it's more personal question, you can see me later on. It's just like a regular thing. I will announce the quizzes and the test on the next class on as an email. You will get it as an email if there is a test or quiz. Now, determine the layout and evaluate the questionnaires. Introductory section. So we said, give the respond an overview of the research, screen identify the qualified prospect response, and prevent the qualified response from being included in this studies, and research question section, the second section of the question that focus on research questions. Demographic questions, last section that ask personal information. Respond order bias occurs when the order of the question or a close-end response to a particular influence the answer given. So the question saying, well, we are the best rated restaurant in Oshawa. Do you like our food, or do you like our menu? So you are kind of giving the person as a bias, you're putting him in a biased situation. And common method variance, bias variance that result from the measurement method used in the questionnaires. Now, these are all about what type of questions, which is I will, send you all the information, but you need to also do your research of a best, way of selecting questions, problems, and uh, determining the respond rate. Uh, in the online surveys, the respond rate is sometimes is pretty low, or the recruiting participant who is participating behind the menu. I mean the questionnaires. You want to see who is participating, um, and time taken to complete the surveys. Very important that you need to know the survey, how long it takes to finish. And probably you need in the beginning of the survey, let the person knows who's taking the survey, how much is about to finish that surveys. And also if it's a survey is long, then you need to also make sure that he's aware how much percentage is almost finished and what it takes him to finish the rest. Online questionnaire design issues affect the respond box size and length, as we said, answers in open-ended questions. Radio versus pull-down menus, appropriate use of visuals. These are all, online questionnaires that you need to look at it. Step 5, which is here where you really you obtain the initial client approval, which is if you are a survey company, so you need to get the initial client approval. Copies of questionnaire should be given to the all parties involved in the project, giving an opportunity for the client to provide some suggestion or changing some questions that might, because he is very much aware of what he is looking for as information. Research must obtain the final approval questionnaire prior to the pre-testing. And pre-test usually for conducting a larger main studies. So you do a pre-test just to want to make sure that you get the right answers, you wrote the right questions, and people are not confused and they are responding the way you are, the way you want it to. So you provide a final evaluation of the questionnaire through the pre-test. Uh, Helps a researcher usually to determine how much time respond. As we said, it's just that timing is very important, whether it's going to take 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 minutes of the people who respond. So that will help the researcher research how long it's going to take, whether to add or revise some instruction there, what to say in the cover letter. These are all issues that you need to, test it before you start questionnaire. Then you do a pilot study. See, the testing is a different than the pilot study. Pilot study mostly is going to be, a larger scale. So if you, the testing is about 10 people to find out whether this is going to work or not, or mistakes, approval, all this process. Pilot study usually made of 100 to 200 people, as it is a scale, a small scale version of intended research, really. Okay. And include all subcomponents that make up the main studies, commonly associated with the quantitative, usually pilot study, yes, it's more quantitative or predictive research. It's not a qualitative it's used because usually qualitative takes much longer questions. And the last says to implement the survey, and it's focused on the process of followed to collect the data using this. So it is how you're gonna, when you get the surveys, how you're going to send the surveys, how you implement it, and the process of collecting this data back. A process of varies depending on whether the survey is a self-administrative or interview completed. The last thing is the role of cover letter. Cover letters usually it's a small paragraph, or usually sometimes half a page, but it's a small paragraph most of the time, telling them what they are, how they're going to help you in finding out, a communication letter part where they before they do any survey. So it's designed it's to enhance the respond willingness to complete and return the survey in timely manner. So you're asking for help. You're saying we're probably gonna improve, or you might if you write this, you might win a gift or something. This is something that you write to enhance, to make sure the people who are responding this willing to respond it and increase it, and obtain the response cooperation and willingness to win. So you say you might win, if you answer these, you're going to be in one of the draws to win a trip to Bahamas or something like that. Um, and the reason, as we said, is to increase the response rate of people who's going to be answering these. I'm not going to go over this. You're going to get it as a note. It is factors like a personalization, advantages of the organization, a clear statement. This is all part of the cover letters. Now, there is other consideration that you need to look at it, and hopefully with this subject, we will take a short break. Um, uh, you need to have a supervisor the instructions. So you need to have somebody who knows how done this survey letter before and did this instructions. So supervisor instructions form the service as a blueprint for training people on how to execute the interviews. So you need somebody who, experience in this field to help you outline the process of conducting the studies, and and for conducting this studies that uses a personal and telephone interview, teach how the people should be asking these questions, and interview instruction used to train an interview of how to do it. Selective prospective will teach them to ask certain questions when they, for example, on the telephone. So they in a proper way, the procedures, how it's done, and select whether you want to continue with this person that you're going to interview, or you tell him, it's not. So you need to screen the respondents, whether it's eligible or not. Conduct the actual interview, how you're supposed to conduct the actual interview, and screen the questions. Ensure that the response are representative of the data, the target. So you might have it part of the questionnaires, or you might have it out as a first part where you can start the survey. Code is tracking the system that collect the data from response. So there is some code, a survey, it's being collected, and a system should be tracking this collection. That the subgroup are respondent in the samples. Call or contact the record document, the gather basic summaries information about the interviewers, performance, the efficiencies, and that's probably we will take